sitting in a park in Port Colborne on Thursday night, cruise night, with Tony Spiteri, the new general manager of NASCAR Canada.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can you give us a little background on what this entails and what we can all expect?
Okay, it's an exciting opportunity for all of us. On the motorsports side, it's probably about 2.5 years in the making. If I go back about 2.5 years ago, folks at NASCAR, Chad Siegler asked, while I was a sponsor, what are some of the things we could do differently in the series? And he was looking at it from a sponsor's perspective, but he was starting to contemplate what NASCAR could look like in the future. And I kind of gave him a manifesto. I kind of gave him what I thought was the Canadian manifesto of how motorsports could actually work together to become even better, with NASCAR kind of as a center point. Anyway, the long story not so long, as I left the Olymel business that owns Pinty's, I was in a position where there was no conflicts of interest from a perspective of me being a sponsor or anything like that. And Chad reached out and said, would you consider doing this? Would you consider working with us on it? So a lot of what I'm doing is what I was doing as a sponsor, Greg, working with you at Inside Track and a whole bunch of the other motorsports folks. The only difference is now is we're attempting to bring all the facets of Canadian NASCAR under one roof. So competition, technical, safety, sales, marketing, venue management, scheduling. So as opposed to the old model where it was all in the US and approved in the US, now we've got a centralized team here in Canada that's going to be responsible for growing the sport across Canada primarily.
It's almost amazing that it's so good, as good as it is right now, given that it is kind of disjointed. So very exciting to think of what can happen with an organized, integrated effort.
Correct. And listen, that's the dream and the hope. I think a lot of people, what I've learned over the last week anyway, is that a lot of people were thinking almost exactly the same way, just from the letters and the notes from folks saying, like, this is what we can do now. Yeah, this is what we can do. And just little things that we were working on for this weekend's race at Oswego, things that might have taken 3-4 months in the past, we were able to get done in 3-4 hours. Yeah, so kind of cool.
Yeah, you don't set yourself up to fail at something, and it's exciting to think that you've had discussions with NASCAR people, and you've no doubt, given that you're doing this, been given the mandate to do some of the things that need to be done and can be done.
Yeah, I mean, like everything else, right, Greg? From a business perspective, it was great. The talk that Steve and I were able to give on Saturday focused on the business of racing and the business of racing. And we're, in Canada, we're blessed because we've got a lot of folks that are really on the competition side, as strong as anything we've seen on the NASCAR front worldwide. The part that we're looking to do is we're just looking to gel it all together. The reason the U.S. model works so well is all the resources are there to make decisions immediately in Cup. Yeah. Well, we've got a very successful series here in Canada that is just now prepared to go to the next level. And as well, working with all the assets that we have in Canada, taking it to different tracks and taking it to different venues, taking it to places like Motorama, like where, we understand the importance of being at that show. And it's very difficult sometimes to explain that to people that maybe don't live here.
Right.
So anyway, it's kind of cool.
The fact that someone's on the ground that is empowered to make those calls, that's pretty neat.
I think it is, and listen, it's something you and I are both passionate about, and again, Inside Track does a phenomenal job of making sure people know about motorsports in Canada. It's our job now to give you content and give you stuff to look at that maybe looks at the motor racing world a little differently in Canada. So a little more. I think hopefully the hallmark of what we're going to do quickly, Craig, is a very open communication and a view to bring more people's voices to the table. Okay. It's not a top-down type situation. At least I'm planning for it not to be. We're planning for it not to be a top-down situation.
Yeah, like so many people have skin in the games. It's their heart. It's their fortunes that and you come to it with a proven track record. Like you did it with, as you're the sponsor. You work closely. You establish relationships. It looks like you're well positioned to hit the ground running.
Well, I guess we're. As Chad has said to me, and a couple of our team owners have said, it's like I'm trying to bring the sponsor's perspective to the table, the business perspective to the table, the racer's perspective to the table, the team owner's perspective to the table. And really, truthfully, the most important one, and you exemplify this, Greg. I'm trying to bring the fans' perspective to the table. What's important to the fan? Because if we do that right, everybody will win down the road. Opinion anyway.
No, awesome. What can people expect? I know what you're like. I've seen you in action. Your head must be spinning now. You only got time to do one thing or a couple of things at a time. What can people expect in the short term, and then your long-term vision?
I think the short term, I'm a real big believer in new assignments. Like the first 100 days I think are mission critical. The first thing I'd like to do is get our whole group together, the NASCAR group in Canada, number one. But more importantly, bring stakeholders together. Stakeholders, team owners, drivers, sponsors, potential sponsors, tracks, venues. Bring them together and actually start having open dialogue about, okay, what's really, really good right now, and what can we make a little bit better. That'd be the first piece. I also think what's really, really cool for us in this first 100 days is actually looking at the schedule to say, what is it that everybody really likes working with, and what is it maybe we can tweak a little bit more. I would say then the other part is look for us to bring not only new fans to the table, but new partners to the table. And I mean, we hit the traditional wells all the same way all the time, Greg. You know all about that. But we have to start looking for opportunities to look at different partners in the business, to bring new Canadians to the table, to bring in new audiences to the table. I think Oswego is a great example of that this weekend. We're going to showcase stock car racing to a group that is all about racing, but it's a different surface. And there's been a continental divide for as long as you and I have been kids.
Yeah.
Dirt's for growing tomatoes and asphalt's for getting to the racetrack.
But that's been happening for a couple of years. Like people have seen that down south. Like it's amazing. It's different. It's out of the cookie cutter. Like so that everyone is so excited. We've all been waiting a couple of years for this race.
Big time. So I think that's the short term piece. I think the longer term piece is I know Canada's going to play and NASCAR Canada is going to play a substantially larger role on the world stage when it comes to not only NASCAR but motorsports. We have the talent. And frankly, if we get organized, we actually have the sponsorship base to get into. So I would say on the long-term success point or key performance indicator for us, which I expect you to fully hold me accountable to, is that we'll play a larger role within the NASCAR organization from a Canadian perspective, but maybe on the worldwide stage.
Wow. Okay. Well, certainly from our talks, like you're well connected with the people you're working for now. And very creative outlook on things. I'm sure that's exciting and inspiring to them as well.
It'll be fun. It's going to be fun, Greg, I promise.
Anyway, this is just great news. So when you were in the room the other day and Steve O'Donnell announced you, what was the reaction? What did that feel like in there?
Wow. Well, there was a couple of things. Wasn't quite prepared or expecting the reaction from the drivers and the owners. It was humbling. It was humbling from the perspective of a big chunk of them were asking me questions for weeks before, and I just couldn't say anything to them. And truthfully, I thought a lot about my dad. My earliest memories in NASCAR, sitting with Dad watching races in the mid to late 70s and thinking, man, what would he think about this?
Yeah.
I think he'd probably lean to me and say, don't mess this up. He wouldn't use those words, he'd use a different set of words. But
no, he'd be very proud, I'm sure.
Well, I'm not sure about that. Yeah, we're going to work hard to make him proud. God bless his soul. But yeah, I think, Greg, I wasn't prepared emotionally or mentally for the reaction I got from the teams. It was, I got another note just as we were sitting down having a soda from a pretty prolific team owner who already sent me a couple of notes, but he's just saying, I'm sitting here having dinner and I'm still stoked. And,
yeah.
Man, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure I deliver on what he believes is the future. So.
Yeah. No, you're an advocate. I call you the Pied Piper in the best sense. Like you make things happen, and you got a vision, and it makes sense a lot of times. And they need it. Like it's been a tough couple of years for those guys, and they kept it going when that was not an easy thing to do. So. Now, if there's solid momentum, like you got to get excited about people looking at this now and thinking, I want to get involved in that series because of the way it's going.
Greg, I can tell you, like the amount of commitment from Steve O'Donnell, Chad Siegler, from all the folks, the senior brass, the France family, for the Canadian series. I'm not saying it because I've got my own food business. That's what I'm doing, and
yeah.
I got to tell you, like,
I don't even know how you must have 48 hours in a day. I don't know how
it's
you
all
do
good.
it.
It's all good.
All right.
But I got to tell you, like, if anybody ever suggests that, you know, hey, like we're second fiddle or we're, I got to tell you, all I got was texts and emails this weekend about, I can't believe, you know, we're sitting in Michigan and there's 63,000 people and you guys are at Trois-Rivières with 132. So the amount of support that they have for the series, to your point, I mean, through COVID, it would have been really easy to go, let's leave it alone for a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
Not a chance. So the commitment that we have and the resounding commitment we have now, because we've got feet on the ground, is I don't know how to put it. I wish I could take everybody that's a motorsports fan and say, this is what the France family and this is what the executive of NASCAR think of Canada, because I know they wouldn't believe me. Until I could show it to them, they really are in tune with what we're doing and they
Nice.
really want to make this work.
No, that's just awesome. Anyway, thank you so much for your time tonight. Congratulations, and
Thank you, Brett.
we'll see you this weekend on Tuesday.
Absolutely. I'll buy you the first soda. How's that?
All right. Excellent. Congratulations. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.